Hi there, I am Mark Stocking. I'm here today to talk to you about the economics of college football, more importantly, the compensation of the athletes that play those sports. So what's the problem? The upper echelon of college football, which is the football bowl subdivision, reported $3.2 billion in revenue in the 2013 fiscal year. Conference TV deals generate millions of dollars for each and every school. The highest paid state employee in many of the states is either the college football coach or the basketball coach of the major college program in those states. The labor force, which would be the student athletes, they're not paid a cent for their work. So why is that a problem? Unfair labor practices, it basically amounts to indentured servitude. The student athletes don't get paid anything. The NCAA, which is the governing body of the college football, is basically restraining trade of these student athletes. They can't really go anywhere else to market their skills, and they don't get paid for it. The hours of commitment required, practice, workouts, rehab, travel, games, it makes it really difficult for student athletes to hold jobs that they can get paid for and support themselves on. So why should these workers that are putting themselves on the line not benefit, while a company, which in this case is the schools, the conferences they represent, earn millions? Many would argue that the athletes are being paid through free education. Many would also argue that there is no way to fairly compensate athletes across the board. I disagree with that. So how does it affect the rest of us? There's no direct effect to most of the population. Unless you're a student athlete yourself or you have one in your family. The indirect effect is that a fairly significant size of the population, the FBS alone has nearly 10,000 student athletes. They're not being compensated for their work. Wealth is being accumulated by the wealthy, the coaches, the presidents of the schools, the conference presidents, all those, while the poor, the student athletes, are not actually accruing any wealth at all. So the gap between the haves and the have-nots is growing. So how do we fix it? We offer the student athlete financial compensation based on services, but not their skill. We can't operate a free market system where skill determines your wage. It would create disparity in the sport. The upper schools, the top schools, would have the best athletes because they would be able to pay the most, whereas the lower schools would have not as good athletes. So the fix would be base pay for all athletes at a particular level of a particular sport is the same. Every student athlete that plays football at the FBS level would receive the same amount of money, regardless of the school. Fully guaranteed scholarships for all student athlete participants. As of now, not all student athletes actually play under a scholarship. They're what are referred to as walk-ons. The scholarship cannot be taken away due to injury to the athlete or failure to perform if they don't live up to the standards that the coach thought they would have. Percentage share of the revenue generated from marketing using the athlete's name or likeness. Right now, the student athlete can't market themselves while the school can, so the school earns the money off the player. The money would be held in trust until the student athlete exhausts their eligibility, which is 4 years, or 5 years has passed in case the student athlete would leave school early for whatever reason. What does that mean down the road? Short-term impact would be that the student athlete would be less likely to leave college early due to being unable to afford school. Mid-term impact would be more young people staying in school for longer, earning their degrees, which leads to the long-term impact of a better educated workforce and population that benefits all of us. Thanks.